I'm back. Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Now you may be confused because, well, what is this? Bunch of NBC stuff. I got the Super Bowl on that TV, so, because I still have pre-filmed videos going up on the channel. You know, like birth month stuff and the retro snacks, which uh, um, Physical Media Friday. So yeah, that's all up on the channel. But I haven't put a new thing out since Wednesday. The idea was I was gonna come home and have some time. I was gonna knock out a couple more movies. I even started watching this movie at work to prepare for it, and then I got a message saying, "Hey, just get dropped off at home at my mom's to help her out." Then I don't have to drive out. She's home from the hospital. She's recuperating very well. She's moving around, because you think the worst. You think she's gonna be in a bedridden, but no, she's a fighter. So, yeah. But now I'm back to continue Sequel-A-Thon VI. And we're doing the Sandlot 2 sequel to the Sandlot. Or should I say, hey, let's take that old script, add a couple things, and boom, new movie. Seriously, this is so much like the first one with just a few changes. The biggest change, girls. Yes, there are girls in this movie, which there are not many callback lines to the first one. There is one. You play ball like a girl. And when you have girls playing baseball, that line doesn't work. Although it was a one boy telling another boy thing. But there's so many plot points taken from the original script. The match against the Little League team is there. Something gets lost on the other side where there's a giant dog or dog-like creature that's owned by James Earl Jones. One of the Sandlot members, the leader of the group, has to go and get it, and is nicknamed after some sort of jet propulsion thing. Our main character is a Smalls, and he is narrating the entire thing. Yes, it's even the same narrator because this is directed and written by the same guy who did the Sandlot, David Mickey Evans, and he also narrates, which makes it very weird because it's like, oh, so. Because he's not our main character per se, but he's the narrator. It's Johnny Smalls, the non-existent little brother of Scotty Smalls from the first one. Yeah, he's got to be like 8 years old here to justify his existence, because this takes place in 1972, and I've read about the third one where they go. I thought it was the 80s. No, they go back to 1967 in the next one, which is very confusing. We'll get to it. It should have been the 80s. It should have been 82 to work with the rest of them. Whatever. The next one's weird anyway because it has time travel. There, I said it. Anyway, we have Johnny Smalls, the little brother who didn't exist in the first one, so he was born afterwards. Bill and the mom are non-existent in this movie. He just shows up. Also, there's now somehow another house by the Sandlot, where in the first one there was only Juan. Now there's another one, and that one is now owned by the girl of this movie. She has two friends of the girls, but Haley, played by Haley Goodfarer, which is not a name, Goodfarer. Let's call her Haley Good. I've heard Good as the last name. Played by Samantha Burton. Now, I watched this back when it came out in 2005. And I guess back then I wasn't keen to how much it is. It is so much like the first one that I figured they just took the script, took some things out, added some new things in, and boom, that was enough. That's what it seemed like. And the movie actually starts with a flashback of the end of the last one, with Benny the Jet Rodriguez jumping over the fence, getting the ball back, and then saving Hercules and all that stuff. And they're already telling us that he is actually the little brother of Scotty Smalls from the first one, Johnny Smalls. And that the plot of this movie really has nothing to do with baseball. It really doesn't, because this is 1972. And what happened in 1969? We went to the moon. So, of course, the 70s would be all about rockets. And so you have a little kid born, I'm assuming, in 1964? Or 63 or 64. Who grew up in the space age. He reached sentience at like 5 years old. He knew about the space age, so he all about rockets. Yes. So they go out of their way to say that after the original Sandlot team, there hadn't been a lot of people playing there for a while till this new Sandlot team came in, and they're just as quirky as the first ones. So you have Mac, who is basically pork. What's his name? Ham. Basically ham. His name is Mac. Mac and cheese is Mac. You have Saul and his little brother Sammy, or basically the brothers from the first one, only instead of it being a quirk that the young brother doesn't talk, he's deaf. So he talks with his fingers, and he's called Fingers. Yeah. And you have Tarkel, who, much like Brandon Quinton Adams, is just the black one. More so than Brandon Quinton Adams, because he was actually a character in that one, where this one, he's all like, righteous! He's got an afro, and he's very 70s. Righteous! Okay. And then there's David Durango, who is the Benny replacement. There really is no Squints, because I think they replaced Squints and yeah with girls, cause yeah. And then there's an extra girl. Yeah, they replaced the Squints and with girls, and then brought in an extra girl. I guess there's an extra character here, because if Fingers and his brother are like Tommy and his brother, Mac is Ham, David is Benny, and Johnny is Scotty. And Turkel is basically Brandon Quinton Adams. So yeah, there's like, wait, there's oh yes, there was another. I don't know who that is. There is 3 girls added instead of, and the other, besides Haley, the other girls are just there. I mean, you could say that and the other guy were just there, but yeah. And Mac is actually Brett Kelly, Thurman Merman from Bad Santa. Can I make you a sandwich? What? Yeah, and he's also in Trick or Treat. So, yeah. So we start 1962, like I said, it starts with a flashback to the events of the first film. Now it's 10 years later. And we meet Johnny Smalls, who has nothing to do with baseball. He doesn't care about baseball. He shows up and he is ready to launch a rocket in the middle of the damn Sandlot. When the other Sandlot kids arrive, the rocket falls, goes right into the dugout and causes an explosion, which doesn't burn it to the ground like I thought it did, just sort of causes some damage. And while he's running, Johnny is running from them. He ends up going over the fence into the pool of the new next door neighbors over there, which is Haley and her family, which for all intents and purposes are the parent characters in this. It's Greg German, who's in Spectacular and many other things, and Terrell Rothery from Stargate. So, they're the parents in this. We don't get to see what happened with Bill and the mom. She did not even mention. So, yeah. And the fence that was destroyed in the first one is now a giant sculpture thing made of washing machines. And later, Mr. Murder will tell you he built it. I remind you he is blind. How the hell did he build that? Because he's like, well, I built it myself. I'm like, okay. And then there's a point where someone reaches his hand. I'm like, oh yeah, he's blind. Wait a minute. How did he build it if he was blind? He said he built it himself. I don't know. But yeah. And so then the girls take over the Sandlot, because of course you got to do that, right? Now people would say woke, but the 70s was the sexual movement. The women were like, we want female empowerment and all that stuff. That's when it started, around that time. So I think so anyway. I think it was like the late 60s, but anyway. So yeah, they're playing softball. Right, and that's what we played in school was softball, because they want real baseballs. They didn't want to get hurt, so they're playing softball. That's a girls' game, and clearly David has some sort of feelings for Haley, having seen her. He's in love or something. But they all agree except for David. He's like, no girls. So then here's a little. There's so much that is not put here in this thing. I could go to IMDb. I just want to use it for one thing, though, because I don't want to be. But there is a carnival scene where they go to the carnival, and they really don't do anything there. There's no. I need to see what it says that they do at the carnival. They all go to the carnival, and there's no puking or anything, but. Can you stop? It doesn't really say. They do go to the carnival. I don't think they do anything of note there, though. And then they play the Little League team, like in the first one. But this one is confusing. Like, do they win? Because they don't really. It's whoever wins gets the Sandlot, just like in the first one. But here, the Singleton. Because at first they think that Johnny was hired by I don't know any Singleton. Charlie Puth. He keeps calling him sir, which is right. Sir, I don't know any Singleton. I'm like, dude, this kid doesn't know how to act. I don't know. I don't know if he did anything else after this, but I don't know. The Singleton, he pushes Haley. He hits her. And this causes David to knock him the fuck out. Much deserved. And they're like, the Sandlot's ours. I'm like, but did you win? He's like, you're out. And David just cold clocks him. He's like, the Sandlot's ours. But wait, did they win? She's out. Did they? They don't specify. I don't know. And yeah, they play. They play the baseball. They even do the it's very hot outside thing. I'm like, this is just rehashing stuff from the first one. But then instead of going to the public pool, Wendy Peppercorn, they go to Haley's pool because it's right there. Right there. Yeah, it's right there. And yeah. All except for David, who doesn't want. He's like, yeah, let's go. He does want to go actually, but yeah. So then it happens, and this is sort of a reversal of the original one. So Haley hits a baseball, and when they're playing the game against the Little League people, and it almost goes over, but it doesn't. It hits the top, bounces off back down, and Johnny's like, wow, it's never gone over. No, it's never gone over. It's too high. And so the next day, or at some point, Mac gets a new aluminum bat and hits it all the way over. And when the kid's like, oh, let's just go and get it, this is where we get a reverse to the situation from the first one, where it's the other kids telling him. We can get the story, but they don't go in a treehouse this time. They just do it right out in front of the wall for some reason. And we get the story of the Great Fear. Now, that ain't the dumbest name in all of dumb names to call a dog, the Great Fear. The Beast made more sense. The Great Fear, there's the story of the boy, who is very obviously a character. If you really put two and two together, we'll get there. Hold on. Sorry, when the trailers was up. So, there's a little boy who was playing around where the dog was. The fence wasn't locked properly, and the Great Fear got out. Bit the boy, and the boy disappeared. They don't know what happened to him. I think they even say that the dog might eat him. I don't know, but the boy disappeared. Quite obviously, the boy is David, because at the beginning of the film they show that he's afraid of dogs, and I was surprised because I started watching this on Wednesday, right, or Thursday. On Thursday, and didn't finish it, so I finished it today. Having remembered, once he shows his bite mark, it's like, oh, right, he was afraid of dogs. It was him. Yeah. But it takes a while to get there, because we gotta have this stupid, I don't know what this is supposed to be. So throughout the film, we see this strange kid in like one of those jackets, they're like brown jackets with little frills on it, and sunglasses, riding around, just sort of riding around and looking around, and we think he's going to be important. You think that? They even say, this is where the cavalry arrives. He shows up and goes, I can get back what you lost. I forgot to say what they lost. So the next day, while they're at the pool and everything, Haley's dad talks to Johnny and says, I have this rocket thing, because, he knows that he works for the space program or whatever. He's like, maybe Friday, you and I, we could take it out there, we can launch it. Right? So he shows up, and the father's not there because he's going on a business trip. Right? We find out later that his business trip got pushed to a week early. So, back a week early. So, now, he's launched this thing over the fence to that in the spirit in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. That song. And it's funny because all the songs in this are the original versions, except for Taking Care of Business later on in the film, when they do the rehash of the dog chasing the kid around on a bike. It's a little rehash of the first one, but they get Taking Care of Business. But it's not Grand Funk. It's a different Grand Funk Railroad, or whoever sings it. Hold on. Google it. Go to Google it. Why don't you work? And of course, it's gonna pop up another fucking thing. Why does it do that? The fuck was I even looking at? Taking Care of Business. Bachman Turner Overdrive. This is not Bachman Turner Overdrive that's singing it. It's someone else. I don't know. Hold on. Sandlot. Two. Taking Care. Not any sound is there. I don't want any sound. By Randy Bachman. That's it. That's not. Hold on. I don't have to listen to it. They sound similar, but it didn't sound like Bachman Turner Overdrive when I don't know. So anyways, so the rocket goes over and they try to get it back, and that's where you find out the story of the Great Fear. And then this kid shows up. So this kid's been showing up throughout the entire film. And they've only hinted at the dog over there. They haven't really done anything. He shows up and he's like, they call me the Retriever. When I was a kid, I lost something, a Frisbee or something, and the dog on the other side of the fence chewed it up. So I went over to get it back, and I took his dog tag. So that's what I do. I take the dog tags. And the Great Fear, it's my big one. It's the one I want. So he's like, and they do the guy where he's like, okay, I'm going to go over, and I want you to put that back on the fence. And don't let me over no matter what I say. No matter what I say. He even tests them, and they open it, and he's like, I said no matter what I say. So then he gets like chewed to pieces and ends up in Haley's pool, because everyone lands in Haley's pool. He gets flew all the way up by the beast, lands in Haley's pool. He's like, I give up. I retire. I'm never going to get that. And he just writes off. I'm like, what the hell was the point of that? Because eventually David shows up, and that's where he gets the name David the Rocket Durango. He scales the thing. He goes over, he gets the rocket. But the Great Fear, or Goliath, as we find out his name is, David and Goliath, because we find out the story. The beast, he had babies, and Mr. Myrtle kept one of them. And he grew into the Great Fear, which they say is a mutated dog or some shit. It's not mutated. What is this? Is this that? Hold on. Anyway, so then he does the chase thing, comes back around, and they finally go to talk to Mr. Myrtle about the breaking the, not the fence this time, it's the thing. And he's like, kids were spreading lies about me being mean. And they're like, how come you guys didn't knock on the door? They're like, are they still telling that stories about me? He's like, you built knocked down my wall. I built that wall. That's like, wait a minute. You not then, but eventually. But wait a minute, he's blind. How does he? Whatever. But yeah. So they did. He got it back. And the dad was on the riser because it turns out that it wasn't the rocket that was the key to everything. There was blueprints, which as an adult you go, wait. Because you watched this as a kid, and I was 17, 18 when this one came out. So I'm like, I mean, then I wasn't thinking of that mentality. But now I'm like, wait a minute. As an adult, almost 39 years of age, I'm like, wouldn't there be like blueprints or something they could just rebuild it? Right? I mean, I know it'll take a while to rebuild, but he's still got the blueprints. He can make a new one if need be. I mean, he was going to launch it with Johnny, so he expected something to happen. It was going to go up. So it's not like he launched it without permission, sort of. Like he launched it and he wasn't supposed to. They were going to launch it. So he had every intention of launching it, just not yet. So, So what if he was there and it happened, and what? Because if he was there and it happened, like, I can still have the blueprints, it's okay. Or he'd be the one to go, let's just go knock on the guy's door and ask him, But no, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to put up another wall. As long as you play baseball. I miss hearing the baseball since other kids left. But not once do they go, oh, well, that was Johnny's brother and his friends. Nothing. Also, they call him Bucky a couple times. It's Johnny. Okay. And then we get the first of all, Haley gives David a kiss, and he's now known as David the Rocket Durango. And this is where I kind of facepalm. He's like, and that's where David beat Goliath. I'm like, why did it just now sink in? David and Goliath. So much like the first one, we got to narrate what happened to the rest of them. So Mac joined the Army when he graduated from high school and received a Purple Heart when he was injured in the Gulf War and then joined the Peace Corps. Saul and Fingers started a record label for a new kind of music called hip-hop and named their company Def Jam Records. Because he's deaf. I refuse to believe that Def Jam was founded by two white guys, by the way. With the money Fingers made in the music industry, he started a successful bubblegum company known as Kissing Booth Bubblegum. Is that a real thing? Because that's the thing. Oh, that's the Wendy Peppercorn thing, by the way, that they do. He goes to a kissing booth. He gets these shoes that make him look taller, and he kisses the girl. That's what they do at the fair. That is that callback. Booth. Bubblegum. To several distinct unrelated items. A product from Kissing Booth mayonnaise. The 1980 big red gum commercial we should have Kissing Booth. So that's not real. But they do Def Jam Records, but they're not a real gum? Okay. Come on. Stop messing it up. Jenny and Penny, who I guess were the other girls, I don't know their names, were both raised 3 kids and had a happy life with their families. Tarkel was believed to be abducted by aliens and never seen again, much like with Brandon Quentin Adams just disappearing. He disappeared. No one's ever heard from him again. Haley became a supermodel on a pitcher for the United States Olympic softball team, winning 2 gold medals in the process. David earned the nickname the Rocket after he defeated Goliath. That's where I went, oh, David looked good. And eventually went on to marry Haley. I do like I was like, he, just like before, he was afraid to say anything, and she goes, you're supposed to say, will you marry me? Because when they meet, he knocks her books over, and you get the song, Dizzy, I'm so dizzy, my head is spinning, because 70s, right? And she's like, you're supposed to say, excuse me, or I'm sorry, or something like that. He's, oh yeah. And Johnny went on to work for Jet Propulsion Laboratories as rockets were still his life. Then they do this thing. They're like, and David Durango's shoes still hung from those power lines until somebody pulled them off. Someone pulls it up. But that's another story. And as an 18-year-old, is that supposed to be like Mike? But it's a white kid that pulls them off. And I just did like Mike. And no, it's because the bully kid throws them up there. That they're up there. So, what was that supposed to be a reference to? Hold on. Okay. The Sandlot 2. Dangling. Or hanging. I should do hanging. Shoes. Reference. The action trope from the original film is referenced by new characters. Shoes famously worn by Benedict Rodriguez in the original film are PF Flyers. Significance of these shoes are touted as ones that made a kid run faster and higher. Symbol throughout the franchise representing Legends Never Die theme. Okay. And those were, yeah, they did in the first one, but what is it supposed to be a reference to? Toss them over the utility lines, signaling their own place in the lore of the Sandlot. Those are Benny's shoes still hanging over there? Thought they were TikTok. It's gonna. Just regular videos. PF Flyers, Iconic Shoe. I don't know what that was supposed to reference. I don't know. Unless they referenced that in the third one, and that's what I don't know. But yeah. So the Sandlot 2, it's just the first one, but written with other things in there. There's there's 3 girls added to replace the other 3 boys from the first one. And the other ones are just like basically the same characters without yeah. And there's the same plot line except for a baseball, it's a rocket. Because it's the 70s. Yeah. So I'm gonna give it a middle of the road. It's not bad to watch. I'd go back to it, sure. I watched this on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch it there. But yeah. And if you think, the second one, it's just a rehash of the first one, was bad enough, well, the third one has time travel. That's right. I said it. You heard right. Time travel. Cue the gif of a Hulk from Avengers Endgame. Time travel! Yes. And we'll get to that. So what are your thoughts on the Sandlot 2? Let me comment, let me like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.